television network TSPN. And now TSPN News with Tom Slivick. Comprehensive news because in today's world, you need more than just sound bites. TSPN streaming on the World Wide Web and now on demand at tspntv.com. Hi everyone, I'm Tom Slivick and welcome to TSPN's News for today. And with us I have Robin Peters. How you doing, Robin?
Hi Tom, how are you?
Good to see you again. I've seen you around Sutter Creek, but now you're the mayor.
I am the mayor, yes.
Okay, and we're going to be talking about things that mayors do and the city of Sutter Creek right after this break. So stay with us right here on TSPN's News. You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN. Hi everyone, and we're back, and I'm with Robin Peters, mayor of Sutter Creek. How you doing, Mayor?
Tom.
Okay, good. Now it's the first time you've been on the program.
Yes, it is.
And you're relatively new as the mayor, or when were you elected mayor?
Appointed mayor at the beginning of 2014, so in January of this year, and I'll serve through the end of this year. And then the intention is for the mayorship to rotate. We'll see what happens, but this could be the end of my term in December.
Okay, no, I said elected and you said appointed. I said after there's some kind of election with the
council members,
then you get appointed?
Right. Council members are elected at large by the city.
Right.
And then amongst the council members, the council determines who will be the mayor. And it's
so it's designed to rotate, and yet at the same time you get voted on.
That's correct.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and good. All right, and is it around the same time as well where you brought the new police chief on board, or?
We have a new police chief.
Tell us about
the city recruited for the position and had a large field of qualified candidates. And then through the selection process, one candidate came to the top of the list almost immediately, Phil Hahn.
Okay.
We eventually hired. Comes from Indio and Desert Hot Springs. Outstanding candidate. Deep law enforcement background, very personable. We're very fortunate to have him. Yeah.
Okay, and so as Police Chief Phil Hahn, is that his only role in Sutter Creek? Sometime we've had the police chief doing double duty before.
Yes, previously Rob Duke, you may remember, did
right.
both the city manager and police chief roles, but we've separated those roles now, and Chief Hahn is only the chief of police. He has added to his repertoire, though, some community outreach and community-based policing. So his plate is full. He's got plenty to do, and we hope to reintroduce the police chief and the police department to the community and bring them a little closer together through his efforts.
Okay, we'll try to get him on this program and maybe help out a little bit that way too, and I'll get to meet him. I'm a little curious. We just passed, I believe it was, I could be wrong now, but that proposition, was it 714 or,
47.
47, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Has he weighed in a little bit on that proposition?
He's still trying to figure out what it all means, but
okay.
I know he and the sheriff are working closely together to make sure that their efforts with respect to Prop 47 are coordinated so that there are no gaps or overlaps in the way things are handled. So it's certainly a work in progress, very dynamic, but Chief Hahn is working with the sheriff very closely on the issue. Okay,
and also you have a new city manager.
We do.
And tell us about your city manager and her background.
Well, you may know that Sean Rebay left the city of Sutter Creek late last year for the city of Colma. So we began the recruitment process shortly thereafter, about the beginning of this year. In the interim, we hired Amy Gedney as an interim city manager. She happened to be a local citizen and had experience and background in city management, and we were fortunate to bring her on to bridge the gap between Sean Rebay's leaving and placement. As it turns out, through the recruitment process, Amy turned out to be the best candidate of all of the applications we received. As I recall, we received upwards of 26 applications, Amy was clearly the best candidate, and the city hired her for the permanent position. We're very happy to have her. Amy comes from Gustine and Modesto. She has analyst experience in Modesto and was the city manager of Gustine previously. So, outstanding candidate. She's just very dynamic, good with the employees, and has a sharp mind for financial considerations, which, of course, these days is paramount to much of what we do.
Certainly is. Now, you know, you also have a background as an engineer.
I do.
And what field of engineering, or what kind of engineer?
Well, my background is in mechanical and nuclear engineering, but my practice is in civil engineering. I have an office here in Jackson, Cal State Engineering, and we do all aspects of civil engineering, land development, that sort of thing.
Okay. I like engineers. I think I tend to get along with them because they're nuts and bolts oriented people. They see the they see the hardware, they see the parts, they see how it works, actually it's where you kind of see the linkages between things and how things are intended to work, and go into the planning and see that. So it kind of grounds you down to reality, being an engineer, would you say?
I would say that, and it helps me to identify when things aren't linked properly and aren't working quite properly. And Amy and I have been working over the past year to identify those things that need tweaking in the city, processes and things like that can help efficiency and save money. So yeah, I think the engineering background does bring some of that to the table.
So what are some of the things that Amy is working on?
Oh gosh, there's a long list of
well, let's
of current
go
projects.
through the list. We have a few more minutes. It's good to hear that, and that's through the financial parts.
Yes, interestingly, the city of Sutter Creek, along with many other small communities, have gone through quite a rocky period financially over the last 5 or 6 years.
Right.
We were fortunate in the city to have come through intact. Others perhaps not so fortunate, but at this point, Amy is working to rebuild our finance department. In the depths of the recession, we had outsourced our finance capabilities and brought in contractors to help right the ship and bring us back into compliance. And Amy now is rebuilding an internal finance department.
So you're going to be bringing it back in-house?
That's exactly right. We will no longer be relying on contractors. We'll control it locally, and we think we can do it more efficiently and a little bit better than we were doing it before. So that's very exciting.
Sometimes when you have a contractor, some people might think it's maybe more transparent as done in-house, but that need not be the case. How is it that you'll provide transparency? How often do you report on the finances and things?
Well, we have our finances audited annually, and we have a very rigorous auditor currently. We've had the same auditor for 3 years now, and we've extended that contract for another couple of years. They run us through the rigors. It's quite an audit process, and I think that audit report provides the transparency that the public needs to know that we're doing things right and doing everything.
Okay, I'm a little curious, how much monies would the city save by being able to pull it in-house?
Well, we're just in the process of finalizing the details now, so it's probably a little premature to
Do you
say
bring
that.
more help on board to be able to do that, or do you have the staff already available?
Both. We're moving some staff around, allocating hours from certain positions to the financial positions, and then we have hired as well to fill the gaps.
Okay, that's great. So that sounds good. And we were talking about the economy and stuff, and it seemed like Sutter Creek weathered well. And I believe that's probably one reason, because it's a very defined city. I mean, what it wants to be. To me, tourist attraction, keep the old look, keep that in place once again, because that plays into being able to be a real destination where people come on in and find the architecture intact and things like that. So it's just a beautiful city.
Thank you.
I was thinking about, if you could think about it, the only difficulty with Sutter Creek might be it's just maybe a little bit too small, but that's also the great asset that it has. It certainly is. The size of it. because I think when a lot of people come, it's you can relate to something smaller easier than you can a larger thing. I don't know if I'm making sense there or not, but it's very well contained and confined, and you can do the town good. And oh yeah, we've been all the places, we know where it is, we know what our favorites are now, and everything like that.
Sutter Creek is a very, as you suggest, compact and walkable community. So we find that visitors to the city enjoy staying in one of the local inns, bed and breakfast, or the Sutter Hotel, of course, is now back in business. And then they'll day trip from there to the Shenandoah Valley, or maybe up skiing, or to visit Jackson or some of the other local communities. But then they'll walk town as well.
That was the word I was looking for that was evading me in that sense, and clearly that's it. That sometimes you find in some of the little Hawaiian towns the same thing. You can enjoy it all, because the distances involved are so small, and you get to just partake in everything. And when you're walking around, you really take everything in. I can remember that as a kid, from the way that you viewed your neighborhood or your block. You kind of owned it because you walked around and you knew almost where every blade of grass was a rock, right?
Sure.
Moving that slowly. Okay, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about the I believe we call it the. Don't we?
Yes, works for me.
Okay, we'll come back and we'll talk more about Sutter Creek. Stay with us. You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN. All right. As pretty as Sutter Creek is, they're going to be making it better still. And for a long time, you've been working on the bridge restoration. Actually, it's the bridge, replacing the bridge. It's pretty wide, so you have an opportunity to take advantage of some of that width. What are we planning on putting in there, and how much closer are we to seeing it?
It's quite a project. The Main Street Bridge will be replaced, and a good section of the street, both north and south of the bridge. So the bridge is currently substandard. It doesn't meet safety standards, so we do have the money, grant money, to have the bridge replaced. In coordinated replacement, we're actually redoing the front of City Hall and developing a plaza in front of the hall. It'll be very interesting. We'll have places for folks to assemble, to sit, some landscaping, to enjoy the creek, and the bridge will have a brand new look that has a more historic appearance and a historic look and feel than the current one. It's a very, very interesting project. We're also replacing the Badger Street Bridge, another major bridge project on the other side of town. That one may precede the Main Street Bridge replacement project, simply because it's a smaller project. But yeah, 2 bridges in 2 years. It's going to be.
Okay, we're talking about Sutter Creek, but quickly, Amador City redid their bridge, and when you had mentioned, it's going to look probably more like it. Older, or fit in like in an older time frame. Is that the kind of look that it might have?
It will be similar.
Okay.
What the city did in the process of designing or doing the preliminary design for the Main Street Bridge, we asked some of the local folks to bring to us historic photographs. Ed Swift, as a matter of fact, had some very interesting older photographs of several bridges.
I think Ed Swift has everything squirreled away.
I think he does.
Okay.
But he had photographs of a number of bridges in that position, and the city chose the look that it liked the best. That was also historic.
Is there plans that people could see on a website or any place yet?
I don't know if they're on the website, but the city definitely has the preliminary drawings that show the look of the bridge and the plaza itself. So absolutely, I'll see if we can get those on the website.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm sure the improvement is going to be wonderful, and a place for gathering. I envision like music possibly being there and things, and will people be able to eat there too? Is that kind of as well? Maybe not buy the stuff, but take things there?
Yes, that's possible. We'll have benches and places for folks to sit and enjoy the downtown area and the creekside venue. Yeah. Okay,
and another project that I know Tim Murphy was working with, we talked to Tim, and that's the restoration of the Sutter Creek Grammar School How's that coming along?
Tim has done an outstanding job of bringing that all together. It's a complicated restoration project and one that, like many, are notoriously underfunded. But the Sutter Creek Community Benefit Foundation has worked very well with the city to bring the funding and fundraising mechanism together with the restoration project, and it's moving along quite.
It's got that. Now here's this is new to me. I've known of some of the other things, but the Central Eureka Mine, a historic exhibit there. You're probably going to tell me you've been working on for this for a couple of years too, and just showing how out of the loop I am, but. Tell me about that. Now, that sounds really interesting as well.
The city acquired the Central Eureka Mine property. Most people associate that property with the large head frame that you can see from Sutter Hill, the steel head frame.
Right.
The city acquired the property, I forget how many years ago, 4 or 5 perhaps, and secured grant funding for initial cleanup of the site because there are some historic mining materials on the site. And also to develop the first phase of a publicly accessible area to visit and interpret the remaining.
When you put this together with the other mining exhibits, and I know the Europeans love this stuff, and also locals love this stuff as well, and people from all around California love to visit some of the history and see, as I said, Sutter Creek being a historic town, understands the importance of the history and you playing with that in the economics of what they want to be.
Yes. We hope to develop the Central Eureka Mine class destination for those that are interested in mining and industrial history. So we're about to embark on another phase of the site development that will involve a cooperative, or certainly could involve a cooperative agreement between the city and a nonprofit partner to help redevelop the original site, maybe erect some of the original buildings and conduct some living history tours at the site.
That'd be great. Now, the Planning Commission, I pulled up their agenda from a few days ago, and it was a pretty big. They had a lot on their table. What did they have? Tell some of the people maybe what's coming out that way.
We have an outstanding Planning Commission, and they've been very busy for the last year or two. A couple of major projects that they've been working on include the sign ordinance update. It's been a long time coming. We're trying to bring our sign ordinance into the 21st century. But most importantly is the development of citywide design standards, architectural standards, if you will, that apply to historic structures, but also most other structures in the city. And
don't you think people, I thought you already had that stuff, so...
And we do. Unfortunately, we have actually 3 pieces of city ordinance that address some of these aspects of design and architectural regulation, but the 3 ordinances conflict and they leave gaps.
So you're trying to streamline them into one?
All together into one that's easy to use, easy to understand, and that better brings the city to a point where it's achieving its goals for historic preservation.
Most of the people of Sutter Creek agree with this approach?
Well, we'll find out. We'll have public hearings coming up very soon, but support has been consistent and generally positive to date.
Okay. A few years ago, you had made some improvements to the sewer. Where is that going now? How is your sewer system working? Do you have to upgrade that?
Well, our treatment plant is actually operating quite well. We've, over the past couple of years, brought in a couple of consultants to advise us on how to improve the plant, and we've installed and constructed those improvements, and now our own city staff are operating the plant. It's operating nicely. Our staff are doing a great job, and as far as treatment is concerned, we're in pretty good shape. Disposal through the Amador Regional Sanitation Authority is always a challenge. It always has sharp edges, and we're probably in a transition period at ARSA. But we work on that diligently, and over the coming years, we expect to finish some master planning that we are currently in the process of completing, so that we know what the 20-year picture looks like at both treatment and disposal.
We have a couple of events that are coming up, and I'm going to let you talk about those really quickly. But Mini Provost Field, let's not leave that out. Will we get a new ball field?
Oh, the Little League folks have done an outstanding job of restoring Mini Provost Park. The park had fallen into disrepair and was marginally suitable for Little League games. But they have stepped up and, in conjunction with some of our city landscaping staff, have done just a phenomenal job of bringing the field back into shape. If you haven't been there lately,
So be ready to play ball.
I recommend a visit. It's
Okay.
great. They've done a great job.
We're in November, but December, hey, good things happen in Sutter Creek. Tell us.
We have an exciting holiday season coming up, a couple of big events. We have our annual Christmas open house that is Friday and Saturday, the 5th and 6th of December. On the 6th in the evening, we have the Las Posadas parade.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun. There's information on the website that tells you all about it. And then the following week, we have the Parade of Lights on the 13th. A lot of fun.
It's a
Susan,
really nice addition to have a parade at night, and it looks really good. It's a lot of fun.
very popular.
And I think people will have a chance then to stick around Sutter Creek and enjoy it as well right afterwards, right?
We certainly hope so.
Okay, and in prime time, I think it's just a wonderful parade. You'll want to attend that. And open house in Sutter Creek is
Always fun.
yes, very good there too. Well,
It's
thank
been
you
a
for
pleasure.
coming by and informing us about Sutter Creek. And I hope you were informed as well. Stay with us. There's more coming up on TSPN.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.